If you can actually hear yourself.
Mic check 2.
I think I can hear myself. I hear myself all the time.
Do you hear yourself think, or you hear yourself speak, or?
Sometimes I speak while I think, and that's a problem. But most of the time, I'm only just thinking, which is why I thought that I've talked about something before and only thought about it, and it never got taken care of.
We are live. I am Bruce Buffer.
You wear headphones. Does that ever make you louder when you talk?
Oh yeah, I can hear you really loud. I can hear myself really loud. I can hear the special effects if I do the special effects really loud.
No,
I can hear everything really
boisterous.
loud.
You always
But does that
cringe.
make you talk louder?
What I want to do is it helps key me in if you guys are actually like fading away and like.
Well, maybe that's how.
Know what I mean? So like, it's important just so that way I can be like headbutt.
I'll be fading away if I'm starting to doze off, which has only happened a couple of times before.
Yeah.
It may even happen today. I don't know. Slept
not here
terribly
right
last
now.
night.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I have a story for today that comes from yesterday. It'll be one of the newest story times. It's a COVID story that's kind of funny. I cleared out.
There's none of those lately. That's good.
No, it's a funny story. Not for the people.
Not for the faint of heart.
Not for the people that were on the receiving end, but on my end, it was hilarious. So yeah,
I'm on the receiving end of all the stupidity. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're reading it.
Yeah. So how was your week, Artisan K?
It was a week. I mean, we did go 4-wheeling. That was nice.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that.
2 days in a row.
2 days in a row.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I've got a really funny story time about that, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
was I there?
Yes, you were there. So do you remember?
I don't remember that.
Who was it when they pulled out their cell phone? They said, "Oh, look, it will only let me make 911 calls."
Oh, me.
That was you?
Yeah.
So
I was like, well, that's handy. I was like, they have obviously the technology to be able to get
We
me a
have the
911 call if I really need it, but I'm out of service far enough that they're just
Yeah.
like, no, sorry, you don't pay enough for your cell phone plan.
you said that. SureShot said that. But Dilstradamus,
Yeah.
who was with us, said, or didn't say anything, but guess what?
His phone dialed 911.
Yeah, because we were in Utah. We were in Utah.
No
and
kidding.
Yes. It called.
Oh, man.
When did he find that out?
So yesterday we went on a bike ride. It was really fun. By the way, that'll be our story time today.
Actual story time.
Because there's actually a story time from our bike ride. It was really, really pretty funny. But so we're on our bike ride and we're talking, and he's like, you won't believe it when we were 4-wheeling. He's like, I don't know why, but when we were in Utah, like we went 4-wheeling so far out of Colorado, we ended up going into Utah.
Quite a few miles.
Yeah, it was quite a few miles. And when we were in Utah, we noticed our phones were on like a 911 only. Like you could only call 911.
No service whatsoever. But I guess if it's really an emergency, we'll find some way to get you
just
some
turn mine off,
service.
so.
Right. But anyway, somehow Dilstradamus butt dialed 911 and it went through, but it went to Utah because we were in Utah. It went to their 911 dispatch service. They didn't know. We have no idea how much of our conversation.
Man, I hope they didn't send somebody out there looking for us or whatever, trying to GPS
So they
track him.
called his phone back multiple times, but because we were in the middle of nowhere, he didn't get those missed calls, the notifications for the missed calls.
Obviously. Great technology. Thanks.
Yeah, until we got back to the vehicle and all that. And then we got back to the house. And then when he got back, he looked at his phone because it was in his backpack, right? And it was on mute. And so he got back to the phone or got back to the backpack and he looked and he noticed all these missed calls and he
I don't
looked
recognize
at it.
any of these numbers.
I don't recognize these numbers. Well, they were non-emergency dispatch numbers from Utah.
Wow.
So he called one and the person's like, Utah dispatch or whatever. And he's like, are you really
Sorry, it must be a
dispatch?
wrong number.
And they're like, well, we were returning a call because we got a 911 call from this phone number. Are you okay? And he's like, are you really dispatch? He thought it was a scam. And they're like,
bull stuff.
we got a call from you from the middle of nowhere. Like, you okay? You guys are all right? And he's like, I didn't call you. And they're like, yeah, you did.
Well, that's kind of terrifying because he was on the back of my 4-wheeler the entire time, and some of the conversation we were having, they wouldn't have wanted to hear all that.
Well, that's what I told him. I said, I wonder how much conversation they heard because when we were at that abandoned house that was from the 1930s or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, talking about asbestos and stuff.
Well, and
Are they having a mesothelioma problem? What's your
the
emergency?
train tracks and like
Oh yeah,
the
that's right.
trespassing. Anyway, okay, so
Well,
yeah.
granted, in our defense, there wasn't a single sign that would have told us we were doing any kind of trespassing. I was just thinking to myself, well, we came from the Colorado side of the border, so in case there's somebody heading from the Utah side, and there might have been a sign they could have seen there that would have told them something, but not from our side,
Yeah.
because obviously 2 states wouldn't have communicated like that.
Yeah, at least
but
we didn't get ran
I'm
over
sure
by
those-
an Amtrak. So
I'm sure
nice.
those
Oh my,
tracks
that
were
was
all-
close call.
Yeah. Well, that's why I turned around at that one point, because we started heading so close to the railroad tracks. I was like, okay, granted, there's a road off to the right, but it's nothing but like a 3-foot deep mud hole at that point, like soupy stuff. So I was like, oh, we could try it out for a second. But as soon as we got to the point where we were like right next to the tracks, I'm like, if an Amtrak comes through, it's going to be moving fast enough. We're not going to have a chance to respond.
and we're
so-
gonna die. And I was like, we should turn around, or an Amtrak's gonna kill us. We turn around, we start going back, and immediately an Amtrak goes.
Like 5 minutes later, here comes one.
I was like, oh man,
I was like, good call.
close call. That was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
that was fun though. That was
But,
fun.
Yeah, now I'm really interested in if they could actually hear in that conversation or not.
We'll never
Had to
know
have been
for
very
sure.
muffled, but
They're like, can we hear? What's going? What? Oh,
Yeah.
what?
I don't
guys
think
are a
he's
couple of
emergency.
weirdos.
I mean, they sound like they're doing okay. I mean,
yeah,
All I
right.
hear is,
Yeah, obviously they're pretty pissed off about what they're talking about. They're pretty heated about it, but I guess they seem to be all right.
Apparently, they don't like the government.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
No,
yeah, part of it was that conversation. The rest,
So fun week. You liked the 4-wheeling.
yeah,
That was the best
fun
part for you.
weekend part. Yeah, and then Monday having to live stream talk, kind of whatever with everybody. It's kind of bogus from our cell
Zoom.
group. Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah,
then-
doing groups over the internet is no fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of people talking over each other and bleeping out every
I
time.
mean, if we
trying
were
to say
all
something.
visiting our own respective awesome countries that we wanted to visit for a vacation, we all wanted to get together for a conference. That's really cool. But
Yeah.
under these circumstances, no fun.
bogus, but then we got together. Well, got our Tuesday filming in for YouTube. Got a couple of
Oh, yeah.
videos ready.
Oh
to
yeah,
go.
you had another video last week. on your channel.
Well, we got 3 videos in the queue waiting to be posted. So
Oh cool.
edited
This is
in.
where I sit and decide: is it going to be a more than once a week video type of situation, or do I just keep that many in case something happens and I can't make another video?
I would just kind of keep them in the
loop.
In the
a
loop.
regular
once a
sketch.
week.
Well, I've been trying to post them, Saturday night or Saturday morning at midnight or whatever, so that way they're kind of ready to go for anybody who's off work and sitting around with nothing better to do want to watch. But
So
Hasn't been
if you
turning
want to
out
know
that way.
about YouTube algorithm, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. is the best time because the promotions for YouTube pick up around 10 a.m., 11 a.m. And if they're going to promote it, they'll pick them up at 10 or 11 a.m. And then I actually got a thing from YouTube.
every day 10 or 11?
Yeah, when I was in a YouTube Academy, the Capital Games
Well,
sent
that's
us
not
to
gonna work.
like 4 years ago. They gave us
right.
like YouTube themselves was there, and we went through like a little like YouTube university that Capital Games sent us to. And one of the people, they had Facebook there, they had YouTube there, they had a bunch of people there, and YouTube taught us like there was like the top 10 things you should know about YouTube, and they gave us a bunch of things. And one of the things they taught us was they said you should always release your videos. There are specific days that are the best, and Thursdays, surprisingly, Thursdays are the hottest days. I actually have a screenshot of which day is the best and which hours are the best. But 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Ish is about the best time to get picked up on the algorithm. And then also Thursdays are actually the best day. But yeah, so Thursdays
Well,
at 10.
that's changing everything up for me.
Yeah, Thursdays at 10, you should do that. Maintain 6 feet of social distancing. I have 6 feet in my arms. So look at that. Wham, 6 feet. There you go. This whole
I have more than
zebra.
6 feet worth of common
Zick,
sense
bit,
in my head.
I got more than Siegfried. I have Roy as well.
Yeah, just don't have enough tongue to keep
We all have
impediment.
herd immunity, so we're good there, guy.
Yeah.
It's herd mentality.
Where's the snitch line? Mark. Boom. What's up, gentlemen? What's up, Zevius? What's going on?
So once this whole thing blows over, we all realize how much we overreacted to it. All those people that have, ratted on all their friends and neighbors and everything should hopefully feel like the pieces of crap that they are.
Well, we definitely want to take responsible measures, but we definitely
yeah.
want to get things
Nothing
back
wrong with
open.
being
That's for sure.
responsible,
That's
but
only
there's
half
also-
of 6 feet. That's true because I am 6 feet tall and that's 3 feet. So yeah, we're about 3 feet.
Ooh.
Greetings. 11 a.m. What time zone though, Ray Rock? It's 11 a.m. here
That
too.
makes a difference about our social distancing levels.
Yeah, it's 11 a.m. here too.
Yeah, it's 11.
We're a little bit late because of
Oh yeah, that's totally me. Not only did I not wake up until about an hour ago.
How was your weekend, by the way? Or your week? Last week. Other than getting the video out.
Pretty busy, actually. Pretty good. A lot of fun stuff
Pretty
going
neat.
on between filming and going out for 2 days four-wheeling and lots
Oh,
of
yeah. We
getting
went
lots of work
twice.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, we did go twice. We
times.
went once with.
We went on Friday.
Yeah, we
with
went
just,
Friday with the family, and then we went as dudes on.
Oh yeah, that's
Saturday.
right. We went with the fam, and then we went as dudes.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
dudes who butt dial 911 and have interesting conversations for dispatch.
Yeah. Didn't have that problem. Turn my phone off.
Yeah.
But no, it was pretty much run
Oh
of the mill
yeah.
week. Everything
And he's
keeps
got a
happening,
fresh
so.
cut. He cut his own hair, and then of course he helped a little. I think.
Yeah, finish.
I got the sides all done and felt like,
Straighten it
oh,
up
that
a
looked
little.
pretty great, but I can't see the back at all. So hey, you've got eyes. Take a look.
Cody says he doesn't want to alarm you, but you have a small furry mammal on your face.
Oh,
Yeah, he's been hanging out there for a long time. I just decided to let him stay.
became friends.
Yeah, it's kind of a mutual thing. He keeps me
Warm in the summer.
keeps me in good with the ladies, and I let him grow.
Ray Rock says you launched videos at 11 a.m., but you didn't specify which time zone. That's true. I don't need to specify which time zone. Then I'm never wrong. It's 11 a.m.
Across the board.
It's just 11 a.m. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's 11 a.m. No, actually, we used to launch them at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and then because of COVID, we actually pushed it back to 10 a.m. because we're lazier. So we're like, hey, we got time.
Yeah.
So we went to
I'm the only
10
one who
a.m.
has to be to work really at this point. My work is still I make my own schedule.
Yeah.
So hey,
And then today they were a little late, so it went to 11. So
yeah, totally my bad.
that's all right. That's all right. Well, we're 10 minutes in. I think we should get started. Mark, really quick, says a man without a beard is like a woman with one. Ooh.
Ow.
It's like a woman with one.
What? So you're calling me a bald lady?
You grow a beard better than I do, so
It's true, but I didn't.
A lot of people consider
Right
the
now.
5 o'clock shadow scruffy a beard still. I mean, it's the
hard to
entire
see.
beard area. So
Artisan
it still counts
K's
as
like,
one.
hold on, Artisan K's like this. You want a beard? Sure.
Well,
It just
why
grows.
wait? Grab a Snickers, you know?
Yep.
He can grow it really fast. I mean,
It just looks like this forever, and then all of a sudden,
you have to shave
boom.
daily, literally, like in the evening, just to like.
I
Whatever.
shave my head daily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I don't like
That's
that.
good that you
5 o'clock
mentioned the
shadow.
haircut because I'm sure there's a lot of people going like, wait a second, who do I need to call to get that hairstylist in trouble for?
I don't have a license, sorry.
Like, well, it's me. I'm not licensed. And, well, if you actually see it up close, you could tell.
What up, Revenator? What up, brother?
Hi.
Hi. He always does the little handshake
Yeah,
emoji.
it's like
It's
this.
It's a
adorable.
hand wave.
it's like
handshake
this.
It's a, hey,
emoji.
it's up.
I know.
No, it's like the head nod with the sup.
Yeah.
All right,
Parkinson's
let's
hand.
say hello to the audience. How's it going, audience?
Oh, wow. I think they're awake.
Everybody there?
And no. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Hey,
Good.
over there. Hey.
In the back. Let me hear
Thanks. I'm feeding off your
All right,
energy.
all right,
I'm really
all right.
tired right now.
They're
It's keeping
all
me
there.
awake.
They're all there. How's it going? All right. So, who's going to go first today for the questions? By the way, this is the way it works. Just reminding everybody, if you're on and live, we've got right now about 20 people that are on. You guys, and as people start to join, you guys can do something very cool, which is you can answer while you're on the live stream. That's right. You can in the chat answer by putting in your answer, how you
Just
would answer.
nudge your way right into our conversation.
That's right. You can nudge your way in the conversation. Most of the time, we read your guys' comments. So
I
you
can't
can,
from here. Sorry.
Yep, you can answer the question live, and so you can say exactly how you would answer the question yourself. But if you're watching this after the fact and you're just bored because it's a pandemic and you're like, what do I do? I'm going to watch this silly warrior guy and his video, and we're going to go ahead and watch this after the fact. You can always type up all of your answers to all 12 questions and then put them in the comments down below. I love watching or reading them later after the fact, and sometimes they have some of the best answers after the fact, so I love reading those afterwards. So Matt says, yo boys, how's your day? Caught your stream, just had to wake up telling myself it's Wednesday, don't forget. Nope. All right, so yeah, let's get everybody involved at home, and definitely
Put your thinking caps on.
Yep.
Or your BSing caps. Either
all right, so we're gonna do this again. Whoever's the odd man out gets to go first. I normally go first. You went last time, but we're gonna see
I've been once.
if you can win,
Oh. Well,
or if you're gonna be a big loser.
all right.
All right,
Let's see. Ooh, I'm a big loser.
odd man out. All right,
How
you get to go
odd.
first.
I guess I can just pick the. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna pick the first off the top.
I couldn't
here.
pick between all the 5 that I had, so I'm just going to try and wing it and see which one grabs me in a
All right.
minute here.
Wing
I
dinger.
do tend to pick a lot of the sports ones, but
Yeah.
that's because they just always in my pack for some reason. I haven't read this one before, so this one was interesting. Tell me if you recognize these people. Would you rather get pegged by a Randy Johnson fastball in the ribs, hit by Ray Lewis coming across the middle, or punched in the face by Floyd Mayweather?
I'll take the fastball.
You take the fastball
Yes.
by Randy Johnson
Yes.
to the ribs.
Yes.
I've seen that guy take a pigeon out of midair. I mean, it was the pigeon's fault, but
I'm not sure if it was a pigeon or if it was a pelican or what. That thing was
albatross,
exploded.
whatever.
Actually,
Either way,
actually, hold on.
All I know is it was a bird for a second, then it was feathers afterwards.
Boom! Oh,
Floyd
One of the
Mayweather,
most
Ray
repeated
Lewis.
highlights
Okay.
in sports history.
So Floyd Mayweather punch to the face. No way, dude. He would break my jaw.
Are you kidding me?
Especially if it's sucker punch.
That's an easy one for me. I would totally take a hit from Floyd Mayweather. He never
Power
hits.
punch.
He just dodges the whole time and tires
That's in a
people
fight.
out. Yeah.
But this
he
actually
just
says
bends his
he
head
will
down so he could try to
physically-
get hit in the back of the head. He's not a fighter.
He
He's
will
an
physically
avoider.
punch you in the face on this one, though.
I would still
It is
take a punch
to
from
the
Floyd
face.
Mayweather. I would rather not take a punch from Tyson
say
than Floyd
anything
Mayweather,
about-
and I'll take one from Floyd Mayweather.
I would rather if it was in a boxing situation, he'd be one of the guys that I would rather. But in a situation like this, yeah, it's really difficult to answer because they're all like supposed to be top of their game.
I've broke my ribs before, and they heal. As long as you're going to get immediate stuff afterwards. But
Well, you're wearing pads, hopefully.
Taking a hit from Lewis, man, across the line, that would be rough, especially if he's going full bore.
It's
Forget
across
it.
the middle, so if you're like,
fastball,
catching the ball right in
that
the middle of
sucks.
the field and he's coming across and boom,
Yeah.
you know.
That'd be a knock the wind out
Or
of you
one of those things
situation.
where you're
Whereas I
catching
would
as
sit
you're
there and look
running.
at Floyd Mayweather and be like, yeah, that's what I thought.
Well,
Ray Lewis, so it gets distributed evenly. Ray Rock says, and you know what? I was thinking that because he's the biggest, he's got the biggest pads, so he's gonna be, he's gonna be hitting you.
one of the hardest hitting linebackers.
It's gonna be spread evenly. That's a really good answer.
Knock you
I
right
would
out.
definitely. Matt says same thing. Fastball. I've taken
The only one that won't
an
guarantee.
88 mile an hour fastball.
Well, this is more than 88. It's going to more like 98.
I know, but I took an 88 mile an hour fastball in the shoulder, and I had like a welt that made me look like I had a third arm growing out for a while. I just envision taking that into the ribs, and I broke my ribs before, so I'm just like, I could probably handle that.
At least you don't have to try to hit off of them.
But Ray Lewis could possibly like break my ribs inward and just destroy.
And are you wearing pads against Ray
guts.
Lewis, or are you just standing
No.
there like you are
No,
normally?
You're just standing there. You're just taking it like a man.
Oh, that would be terrible.
Well, and I know
Yeah.
this for a fact too, because in my short stint as a boxer for only 2 full matches, I got tired, and I'm not a very good boxer. That's why I lost, not because I couldn't take a hit, because I sat there and took quite a few.
Yeah, if he's wearing boxing gloves,
Yeah.
I'd probably take a hit from Floyd. But I mean, you could break your nose, you can give you a concussion. Same thing
Yeah.
could happen with not the same thing.
I don't think you
you
could give me a concussion.
You can get a concussion with Ray Lewis. I'll tell you that much,
Yeah.
and break some ribs on top of it. That's the one I don't want to take.
Yeah, and
is
a
the Ray
fastball
Lewis.
pitch to the head can kill you. So.
But that's still only a fastball to the ribs.
I know.
So it's
Good
obviously
ribs.
going to maybe
I'm just saying,
internal bleeding,
knowing
maybe a
how
broken
hard you can
rib.
hit with that and how long it
Yeah.
can sting and all that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is a horrible question.
Yep,
bro.
thought it was fun.
Yeah, terrible, terrible.
I guess just because I really don't like Floyd Mayweather, and just basically I'm calling him a wimp.
I'd rather
I would
take
rather
one.
I'd
Yeah.
rather take one from him.
Because if I can withstand a punch from Floyd Mayweather, it could be like, seriously, you punched me and I didn't get knocked out.
It'd have to be like in their prime, for Darth Mike. It'd have to be in their prime, and it'd
Right.
have to be just no equipment, just standing there and just let them whack you, and and you just have to take it.
You can't do the no equipment.
Now the
against Ray
baseball,
Lewis.
you'd have to be like a standardized distance away.
Right, you're taking a standardized fastball, but he's not standardized height. He's like 6'10", so he's a lot closer than any other pitcher when he throws that ball.
Yeah, his extension is ridiculous.
Yeah, and plus, like I said, he throws about 98.
You're scaring
miles an
me.
hour.
I'm like,
98, and he's a lefty, so that thing's coming in left.
and I'm a lefty.
Oh, Cody, yes, that's awesome. That's great. Just ask any of Floyd Mayweather's exes how hard he hits.
Sue him after?
Savage. Hashtag.
Can I sue him afterwards?
Audience loves that. That's pretty funny.
I mean, we're assuming that you would actually say you would consent to being hit in the face, so no, you couldn't sue him afterwards. That's just kind of a.
It's true.
It's kind of a.
Not
jerk
making
move,
any money
kind of
for this.
Kind of
You're
a
just
weakling's move.
Just having to do it.
Nope. I just want to shrug it off and be like, "Yep, that's what I thought."
All right. My first question, and this is more of just a yes or a no, but you can analyze it. Of course, we can't not analyze it
Why
because
not?
that's impossible not to. But
It's impossible for us not to overanalyze.
exactly. The question is, are you a jerk if you sit in the back seat and don't talk to your Uber driver? So you call an Uber, he pulls up, you open up the back seat, you hop in, you just sit there, and you don't talk to your Uber driver. You just go to and from without any conversation.
What's the proper
Are you a jerk?
etiquette with like a taxi? I mean, obviously you're going to talk to him about where you're going, you know?
that we're not talking about telling them where you're going or any of that. We're
Just having a conversation.
Yep, being social. You're not being social at all. You're just sitting there on your phone or something, and
I suppose
zero
it's a little more
communication.
rude because it's his car and not like a company car, I suppose.
So my question is, first off, are you a jerk for not like not having any dialogue with him, sitting in the back and not talking to him? And the second is, what kind of person are you? Are you that person, or are you the person who sits in the front seat and like?
I'm probably the first person in the front seat talking to him the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, it's all a matter of like taxi etiquette when it comes right down to Uber, because it's basically the same things, ride sharing, whatever. I feel like in a taxi situation, etiquette is to sit in the back unless there's too many people, in which case, whoever is the odd man out gets to sit up front. And then I think for a lot of situations, it's less of a jerk to not say anything than to have annoying conversation the whole time, or to complain the whole time, or tell him his car sucks, or that he didn't have to give you a bottle of water, or you're going to give him a 3-star or whatever. That's definitely more of a jerk.
You have a unique take on this, buddy.
Well, yeah, because I did. I was an Uber driver for a while.
He did some country jamming.
Yeah. During the festival for Country Jam here, we had a lot of. Yeah. Oh God, it's terrible. That's obviously which is why I wasn't participating in the festival. But I was doing ride sharing around that time, and I made the most money ever at that point until Uber overhired for our area, and then suddenly there was just no rides available, and I made $20 a week if I was lucky, but even then I was spending $100 in gas, so it was completely not worthwhile.
So first, let's answer the question: are you a jerk if you don't talk to the driver?
No.
90% of the internet says no.
Yeah,
you're not a jerk if you do it. Now,
I think you have
what kind of personality are you when you get?
Well,
into
I think you have
Uber?
a better chance of being the nice guy or having them remember you going, oh, good, at least I didn't have to try and make horrible conversation with somebody. It's just been a rough day. I would have rather just driven and not to deal with it. So they probably appreciate somebody like that more often than not.
In this day and age, you can be on your phone the whole time. And
but
would really be
I do think
by
that for some guys, they would probably think you're a little weird.
Yeah.
But you can be like,
yeah. Ooh, obviously that conversation was so much more important than with me, especially if it's a quick drive too. Yeah, it's kind of like
maybe
a whatever,
one thing
pass
was
it
your
off.
buddy that picked you up and you just ignore him the whole time. It's like,
It would definitely be weird. There's some guys that want it that are here in Grand Junction. They want to ride to Aspen. So there's some people who will take them all the way there to the airport there, whatever. And if you didn't talk the entire time for that trip, then I think you're kind of a jerk or a little bit of a weirdo.
Sure.
If it was just across town,
You're just sitting in the back, ominously staring like a psychopath.
yeah, I know, right? That would definitely put off the wrong.
Which one
vibe.
was that again? Was that this one?
Wait.
No, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is it crickets or what is it?
No,
It's the creepy music.
Creepy music, yeah. Just sitting in the back seat.
Yeah.
Sitting in the back
If you're-
seat.
Yeah, if you're just staring at them all creepy the entire time, not saying anything, then you're a jerk.
Something else.
I know. Well, so I've taken Uber a ton, and I actually got introduced to Uber by Capital Games, surprisingly enough.
Oh, yeah.
Had never taken an Uber in my life, and then Capital Games sent me out for, I took
Oh, wait, which city state was that in?
about 6 different trips. Sacramento. I went to Sacramento. I went to San Francisco for EA. So EA and Capital Games both sent me on multiple trips, about 6 different trips. And each time they sent me on Ubers. And then when we were in town,
So you got to experience the weirdest Ubers of the world.
honestly, they were super, super nice people. Really awesome stories. And what's
Super
really
nice.
cool is the individuals would tell me their like reason for Ubering. It would be like, I came here to, start a new life, and
Oh, that's a cool,
and it had like this
That's
whole
a
like
cool legal
backstory.
immigrant story, then
Really seriously, and they were like, doing this and saving money, and I'm working these 3 jobs. I was fascinated. I'm just, my God, these guys are hustlers. And so for me, I wanted to like engage with these individuals because they were, cut from the same cloth. I'm like, you go, boy, you know what I mean? Or you go, girl. Yeah, you get it. Like, and so,
Give me money.
definitely. And so I was introduced to Uber, but it was kind of weird because I was just like, I've never done it before. And it was weird getting into a car with a total stranger.
Right.
And they talked to me.
Hey, bro, I know I don't know you at all, but like, can I get a ride?
Well, they didn't give me an option. Like, I didn't just sit there. They opened their front seats, not the back. They opened the front and like, here, get in, so I like got in the front seat, and then they proceeded to chat with me for the next half an hour.
It was
because
their fault.
The airports were always within 30 to 40 minutes of where I was going, but it was like 30 to 40 minutes. And so I always had to go from the airport to where we were going. And it was, weird if we didn't talk. So they always like hey, I'm this and this and where are you from? And I'd say, hey, I'm here for, Capital Games or YouTube or whatever. And they'd be like, oh, that's really cool. And, I'd say, so how about you? Because I didn't really want to do a ton of talking. And then as soon as you give them permission, I was like, oh, blah, 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 so.
Yeah, for the time that I was doing it, it was great for that festival too, because there's a lot of out of town people there. So they didn't know about the area. So when I would ask them where they're from and that, I'd, start telling them about, I suddenly became a tour guide. I was telling them all about how the festival started. Ironically enough, my ex-wife's mom owned the property and actually got the contracts and set the whole thing up to actually start Country Jam in this area.
Fun
so
fact.
that was like an interesting fact to tell people about as I'm sitting there driving them to it.
Right. You're like, and I am part family to this.
Part owner to this land.
Unfortunately, part family to the...
Yeah, I guess it depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. All right, you're up. Let me read some of these questions.
All right. Yeah, what's the audience have to say about some of this?
Yeah.
Oh, front seat creep or back seat introvert. Cody says that's hilarious. Cody says, I've freaked out an Uber driver by sitting in the front seat and was told to sit in the back. So I default to the back seat.
I think demeanor and how you're dressed and how you're looking at the Uber driver has a lot to do with it. Obviously, if you're putting off the creeper vibe, that makes sense. But
Just sit in the front seat, turn your head, and just stare at him.
Yeah.
every few minutes, just be like, hi.
Yeah.
Aye.
All right, I
right.
can't decide. This is probably an easy one, but it's
All
just
right.
interesting because why I've imposed this question. I mean, I think for some men, it's a possibility that they wouldn't answer a certain way, but I think I know how you guys are going to answer.
All right.
So, would you rather the world lost women or all sports?
Oh,
all sports.
all sports, yeah.
I mean, duh, right?
You gotta keep women around because there's many reasons for this, but
So many reasons.
You gotta keep the
Worthwhile
world going.
reasons, yeah.
And then procreation's
which I
number
think is
one,
kind of-
recreation's number two.
Yeah, exactly.
You can do both.
Exactly.
Procreation, recreation.
Which makes me wonder about this third wave of feminism. If they really want to eradicate all men, it's like, oh, so you just want to put a timestamp on the rest of the world? So you just want to eventually kill everybody off? Like, everybody?
They'll collect our sperm and then they'll kill us all. So they'll be able to keep life going for a while.
Even then, that's only so many generations. You can't splice and make new. I don't think.
I suppose
so you
that's
eventually
true.
run
But
out of
then,
the-
until the
run out of your-
scientists, the female scientists, figure out a way
Until
to
they
clone.
enslave the men and make us
Make
slaves.
androids out of.
No, I think they still want to destroy and eradicate all
I
men
guess
from
you
at least
could.
their talking points. But
We could have death by
Slaves.
snoo.
I missed that.
Sorry,
Futurama.
Futurama reference.
Oh, future.
You could have death by snoo.
At the snooze.
Yeah. The flesh is willing, or the mind is willing, but the flesh is weak and spongy.
Yeah, you'd have to have women around.
Yeah,
As much
that's
as we
kind of
hate
not a
it,
contest.
women are necessary.
Messages we hated.
Just like
Sometimes.
Well, sports aren't necessary, and I
Sports are
hate them
totally
half the
not
time
necessary.
too. So
Yeah.
I can't procreate with sports.
I don't know. That'd be an interesting video to watch.
I
It'd be
can't
like
seem to get a whole lot of satisfaction out of it either.
Netflix series, 2-part limited series.
Yeah, too limited. Didn't last very long.
Yeah, E60 presents
Yeah.
the sport procreation.
This man, you got to watch him for 2 series because he's going to try to procreate with sports.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a
Can he
home
do
run.
it? Can he do it?
No, that'd be pretty weird.
It's more than weird.
I know there's some guys out there plenty jaded, just like, oh no, man, I'd rather sports than women. It's like, well, yeah, you're making that decision for all of us. So,
Yeah.
don't be a dick.
Stop
That's
it.
true. Like you can go without women, that's fine, but
Jerk.
not gonna work out. Sorry.
I do appreciate the fairer sex. Sorry.
Okay.
What's up, Bass, right?
Just a lot of interesting questions.
Hope
that
we're
are-
all okay. We are okay. All
Very
right.
okay.
are okay.
Are okay.
In fact, I'm
Are
almost
okay.
completely awake too. Let's just keep on going.
Yeah,
Almost.
Maybe a second wind
At the crack of noon, he's almost alive and well.
at the crack of dawn. All right, so I probably figure you guys could figure this one out. No problem. Would you rather be the best looking dude in the world
Meh.
or be able to read minds?
Ooh. Double whammy of ouch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because that could be really bad to
I
read.
was like, I don't really want to do either.
There was a Twilight Zone episode I just recently watched where the guy could read everybody's mind. It kind of worked out, but it didn't at the same
I
time.
really enjoy my privacy, so I wouldn't want to have that notoriety of being the most attractive man in the world because that would be noticed and that would just.
Oh, yeah,
I
you'd
don't think
be-
that was something that I could just hide away from.
Yeah.
And that fades. And reading minds would
fades.
work until you die. So I would want to read minds, but that would be a horrible, horrible thing. I'd want to be able
You
to
would find
read
out
minds.
just how truly dishonest the world is. I
Yeah,
mean,
you
you'd
really
be sitting there hearing what they're thinking while they're saying something completely
Think
different.
about it this way: people think about things they don't follow through with all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So you'd have all sorts
You're
of
a
random.
murderer.
Yeah, that's the problem with
You're
a lot
gonna
of,
kill somebody.
that's the problem with a lot of activists and politicians these days. They think that they can, legislate us into not thinking bad things and not doing. It's like, okay, yeah, everybody thinks bad things. Everybody. I don't care who you are. It's all about what you do and how you act on those thoughts, whether you keep them as thoughts or if you let them out.
Zevia says best looking and naive AF. He doesn't care. No, for sure. I don't know. I'd want to be able to turn it on and off though.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'd want to
that
be
would
able
be-
to,
that would be the key point there.
be able to read people's minds, but it not be like a
Friends and
wave
family
of
in the room, turn
water.
it off.
Yeah,
I want to
Yeah.
like you people still.
I think there's a limited amount of people and a limited amount of time that you want to hear what's going on in somebody's mind. Because, especially with I think with
Matt agrees with me totally, or I agree with him. Whatever.
as much as females change their mind and their thoughts about stuff, it'd be really hard to really. It'd be even worse than it is
couldn't
right
keep
now.
up with you
Because I
before.
couldn't keep
Holy
up with
cow.
it before. And now all of a sudden you'd be like, you hate me, you love me, hate me, love me.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
you'd have to turn it off, or you'd go crazy.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a creative way to murder me. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. You just bash your own brains in after a while.
Like she hates.
But I'm
me.
the best
No, she
looking
loves
guy
me.
in the world. Hey.
Now I can be a naive douche.
Yeah. All right.
Giggity, giggity, giggity.
Every year it's the same on People Magazine, America's most sexiest man.
So I straight up picked this question because I didn't know this was a thing.
Apparently, people's sexiest man alive too is very subjective, not objective.
But it would be very.
It's very subjective.
You would be
You're like, no?
basically.
yeah,
No
I've
way.
seen quite a few of their choices, and you're like, absolutely not.
the
Well,
hottest.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, yeah, they're like.
They
I
had
don't-
Gwyneth Paltrow on there one time. Come on, people.
Yeah.
They
What,
had a
what
lot
are you
of-
doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? No, this question, it's pull the internet,
Oh.
and there's 32% of people that do it the other way, and I was like, what?
Really?
Do it
It's
the
not
other
the way
way.
that I do it.
A third of society does it that way. I had no idea. I didn't even know it was a physical
Bar
possibility.
patrons.
Is it a toilet paper over or under discussion?
It's you're
wadding.
you're in the ballpark.
Oh, okay. Something as innocuous as that, but yet can tear marriages apart.
Boxes or briefs.
No. This blows me away. First off, this takes me down another path. Somebody mentioned something about a poop knife at work, and I
knife?
was like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
poop
and apparently,
knife?
yeah, apparently there's a thing called a poop knife. I didn't even know that existed, but it's a. I know. But apparently it's a thing that you hang in your bathroom, and if you have a huge turd, you grab it and you use it to cut your turd up so that way it flushes better. I'm like, I
guess
know.
in some countries
Dude.
with really bad sewer systems, that might make some sense.
How about a courtesy
Otherwise,
flush, bro?
I've never heard of that. Well, anyway, apparently poop knives are like a
knife.
thing. I'd never even heard of that. Well, this is one of those. This is one of those types of questions.
Okay,
And
it's
a
not a
third
poop
of
knife,
On par with that, I'm like,
a third of you psychos out there do this, apparently.
Oh, man.
The question is, do you wipe your rear end sitting on the toilet or standing up?
oh.
Well, standing up?
What?
That's
Yeah.
funny.
What?
That's hilarious because as a kid,
I mean,
What? You do standing up? How do you your cheeks come together when you stand?
that's not true.
When you're sitting on the ground or when you're sitting on the toilet, they're spread.
you squat back into a similar position, I guess. I want to analyze this now.
No, that's kind of.
When you're sitting so it's like in that position where you can get easy access.
I guess I
to
just
it.
didn't want to get my junk out of the way. I don't know, or put my hand in the toilet. I don't know. It just seems kind of strange. So I stood. I don't know.
Oh my god, dude!
That's different.
You are part of that 1/3. 1, 2, 3. Standing
yeah,
or
what do you know?
sitting?
Well, I was just about to say, as a kid, I was always too impatient to want to sit there for the entire thing. So by the time I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm like hopping up and wiping, and I'm like on the run or whatever. But now, obviously, sitting. It's been that way the
Sitting,
majority of my life.
standing. This is right. Statistically
speaking.
Statistically speaking, 68% do it sitting down. But what do you guys say?
Good Lord.
Look
Yeah.
at his eyes. Look at his eyes.
And some people are like, whoa, all right, that's an odd question.
By the way, Cody says there's a hilarious Reddit post about the poop knife. And that's the Reddit post that I got. It was just a few months back.
Wow.
Poop knife.
About the poop knife. And that's what
I mean,
drew my attention to it. I was like, I
in
didn't even
some
know it was
ways,
a thing.
a knife is a knife. But
is a knife.
one specifically for, is it dull? Is it sharp? What's the shape of it? I mean, is there any science or engineering behind the design of a poop knife? I don't, it's just, you've blown my mind officially.
Got to be like a butter knife, right?
I mean, What's it made out of? It's obviously be a stainless steel, but I mean,
Zevia says my brother has to be completely undressed. And my son is the same way too, and he stands up to wipe. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't know any human stood.
This is a question that kind of makes you realize too that you're one of those people that drops your pants to your ankles when you walk up to a urinal. It boggles my mind that some people do that.
So some people do that, and this is why.
Mentally challenged.
So no. I did foster care for years, and we used to have a lot of little-ins, like little boys, and you can't, like, little boys will pee all over themselves, dude.
Yeah, they don't hold it.
So the easiest way to make it easy for little
it's not
boys,
big enough to stick out of the pants to actually.
Right, they make a mess. So the easiest way for little boys to just simplify it, just pull them down.
That makes sense to me. I'm talking about grown men.
Listen, you build habits.
Yeah, that's true.
So you teach a little boy to pull his pants all the way down. Eventually, he's an adult.
I guess if you're a giant man-child and you have no social awareness whatsoever, I guess that...
I've been around a lot of mentally challenged, and that's how they do it.
Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, that is,
I'm not saying there's no reason for it. I'm just saying a able-bodied, sound-minded man in a public restroom dropping trowel and walking up to the urinal is a little odd to me.
Yeah.
Zolov Zebra says, I see an opportunity for money with poop knife sales.
I guess if you see opportunity anywhere, yeah.
Yeah.
You see a problem, I see opportunity.
Yeah.
So the funnier thing is I know kind of along the same line as whether you stand or sit, whether you stand or sit when you're peeing.
Well, it depends on whether or not I'm really tired.
Exactly.
Because
a lot of guys are like, "Oh, I always stand." I'm like, I
can't see. All right, so like,
I get like, I stand most of the time, but like sometimes I'm like bored or tired. I'm just exhausted. I'm just gonna sit.
Okay, middle of the night.
And at work, I always sit.
I'm sorry, what? I'm still brain fried by these questions, and you asked another one. I'm lost.
When you're peeing, do you stand or sit?
Oh, stand.
Most of the time, 99.9%.
If I'm at work, I sit. You know why?
Huh.
Play on my phone.
Oh, you get more bathroom time?
I used to anyway, because I was playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
Oh, Lord.
So if I was going
Bad
in
habits.
there, I was going in there. Like I was going to do a payout or something.
Time.
Interesting.
Yeah, see, I did have, I got rid of my glasses for a long time because they broke and I was too lazy and poor to buy another pair. So at night, like 12 o'clock or whatever, 3 in the morning, I have to take a leak. Well, I walk down the hallway. I don't want to turn on the light for everybody. Plus, I'm really blind. So I just, find the toilet and sit down and go to the bathroom. But that's not like all the time or anything. That's just occasionally.
Oh, man.
I just can't see anything.
I
want to pee all over the floor.
I should have labeled this this live stream TMI.
Yep.
TMI.
And again, I guess when it comes down to necessity or functionality and all that, I can see an argument for sitting while you pee because, I'll be honest with you, it just makes more sense to keep things cleaner around there and less time cleaning the toilet bowl out and all that. But I guess just for me, it's just always been a natural thing to stand and pee. I've never really thought about sitting.
Well, so at work, there's 2 reasons. This is gonna we got
another
again
reason, not
TMI.
just video game.
2 reasons. First, for years, like 3 or 4 years at work, I was, there was a reason I wanted to have an extended period of time in there, so I would go in there and I'd just sit down. But the second reason is I had a lot of girls working for me, ladies working for me. And so I was responsible for the men's room. Exactly. I was responsible for the men's room. The women were responsible for the women's room. And so I had to clean the men's room. So if I sat, it stayed way cleaner. And as if I stood up, it just, no matter what, it always splashed. And because it was a long way down.
Yeah.
So I'm a tall dude. So anyway, I just made a bigger mess and I had to clean it up. So if I sat, it didn't. So it just kept a cleaner toilet and I had to do less
shows
cleaning.
Me how weird I am too, because in my opinion, I'm like, well, I'm washing my hands anyway, so I might as well grab some toilet paper and wipe that off real quick and then go wash my hands.
That's just something you don't have to do if you're sitting
economy
down.
emotion, right?
Yeah.
Economy emotion.
But I usually stand. Usually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Zevius is like, dang, a Malik type event must be going on again. Warrior's been off the floor for 30 minutes again. Dude, there was a day when I had to do a couple of those types of events. It was like a weekend where there was like a 3-day event, but I woke up and it was already like two days and 10 hours left. And I had to do the event on 2 accounts and I was trying to do it. And yeah, I worked that whole weekend and it was busy at work and I had to go. They were like, you've taken 3 number 2s today. Like, are you okay? And I'm like, I got to go again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I gotta go. And they had.
It was Chipotle. I
They
swear.
knew. They were like, okay, whatever. Whatever. They knew what I was doing. SureShot always stands, and when he stands, he's dropping his trousers to the floor. Okay.
Stands for standing.
No.
All right, you're up. Next question.
As I say, even when I was, even after a motorcycle accident, when I tore my ACL and had surgery for all that, I was walking around in crutches with a leg brace on. I still stood because it was nice to have the crutches to be able to put behind the toilet so you could kind of lean a little bit better, so you're more over the toilet. It was handy.
I mean, when you drink too much, do you put your head on the wall at the urinal?
Right.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. All right, so here's one for us manly
know I
men.
did.
I think I know how both of you will answer too, but I think
All
this
right.
is a good learning
I
experience for
stand for
anybody out there
standing.
who doesn't realize this is how it would work.
Try and throw them off a little bit.
So if any time you wanted to eat an animal, you had to kill it yourself,
Oh, I've seen this one.
would you
already.
still eat meat?
Yeah.
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, it has to be killed in order to eat it.
Yep.
Just because you're the one doing it. I mean, it probably make
Well,
you
I think
appreciate
there
it
are
more.
seriously people out there that don't realize that the food that comes from the supermarket, from the grocery
to be
store,
murdered.
came from a slaughterhouse or came from by the hand of somebody killing it before it got to that shelf. And I
Yeah.
think there are people out there that really don't grasp that
And
concept
I think
and
it's
don't
just
know that
because
that's how it works.
they don't want to kill. They just have no desire to kill, which is fine, I guess. I mean, in a day and age where you don't have to
Well, see,
kill
that's
anything.
what's funny too, because I have no desire to kill either.
I'm just saying, like, they're afraid of it. They're afraid of killing anything.
So this is my thing. I feel like
Maybe they're afraid because they're going to be a
you
killer.
have to have the capability, but you don't have to do it. And this is what I mean by this. So we raised chicken and we slaughtered them, and I actually forced all my children to slaughter chicken with me. I made them do it a few times. They had to go through the process of cutting the head off, pulling the feathers off, gutting it, everything. My kids, they were literally under 10, and they had to go through it. Why did I make my children do this? Because they had to understand that we were eating chicken, and this is what
how it gets to that
this
point.
is life,
This is where it
death.
comes from.
This is the process. This is where they come from, and they had to understand it. They had to know they were capable of doing this, and if they had a problem with this, that if they wanted to be vegan or vegetarian or whatever, they could do that, and they could see what it takes to eat chicken. And
Yeah,
if
but at
they-
least you'd have firsthand experience as to why you'd make that choice for yourself.
exactly. And if they were like, "Listen, this is messed up, Dad. I
None of
don't
them are
like
vegans.
chopping the head off a chicken, and I'm not okay with this. And if this is what we're doing with pigs and cows, I'm not okay with it." Then they are making a conscious decision. But if they're
An
like,
informed decision.
yeah, but if they're like, "Listen, I chopped the head off a chicken, I killed it. I'm not a super fan of it, but I can do it." Now they have a life skill that they now have that they can do if needed. But now there's a processing plant that does, 10,000 a day.
Right.
They don't have to do it, but if they had to do it, they could. So the difference is there are processing plants that do it for us, but if they need to do it, they can, and they now understand it's taking a life. Every time we eat meat, we are taking a life, and we have to understand that there is a cycle. So
Circle.
yeah, so I do feel like we are super, super, super
This
out
is
of
why
touch.
animals are placed on the earth for us.
Yeah, I think people are super out
One
of
of
touch
many
with
reasons.
killing. This is one of the reasons why America is the land of hunters, because I believe Americans do still believe in hunting for this purpose. Not only does it get us out into the wild and it gets us kind of back to our roots and all that, but it gets us in touch with this once a year or sometimes twice a year with that circle of life, so to speak, and kind of keeps us in that loop of,
Mortality.
mortality and all of that. And
Well, it's great life lessons about being self-sufficient, doing things for yourself, knowing the whole process so you're not left without when a situation might come up. But then it's also just helping you to realize that you get over little inconveniences in life. You have to prepare your own food. You have to go out and hunt it. You have to get over the inconvenience of feeling good or bad about it because it's natural and it's a way of life and it's the way we've always been and there's nothing wrong with it.
Nature.
yeah, and I mean we've fished and killed fish, chopped their
people
heads
think that's
off and
fine,
gutted
but,
them. We've gone big game hunting. I've gone big game hunting. I've gone we've raised chicken for meat, and we've also had chicken for eggs. By the way, if you've ever had chicken for eggs, when they reach their end life and you kill them, or near their end life and you kill them, open them up and you can see their egg cycle. It's the most amazing thing ever. If you've never done it,
Of course not.
look it up. They have a spiral within them.
That's
It's an eggplant. It like literally is a plant of eggs that just keeps growing and growing and growing. And they have one
Like
from
aliens.
it's like aliens. It's like one that's like just a dot, and then another one's a bigger dot, bigger dot, bigger dot, bigger dot, bigger dot, bigger, and it goes in a circle, and it's just bigger, 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 bigger until the one that comes out, and it's nuts. They just literally an egg coming out almost every single day. most of the time, every day. Pretty cool. But no, I think that every human should be in touch at a minimum superficially with death like that. They should not be so out of touch that they don't understand that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I absolutely would eat meat and kill it and all of that. I think it's important. I don't feel like
a hunter. I've done it quite a bit in my life.
Yeah.
So processed 800-pound elk before. So.
Yep.
Not
I
that
have
big a
not,
deal.
but I would probably do it.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, but I don't know if I ever told this at story time or not, but we had a big bull snake at our other house.
Oh, yeah,
It wasn't ours, but it like was in the backyard at our house, and it like went for, we had two bunnies, and it went for one of our bunnies and wrapped up one of our bunnies. They were like, pet bunnies.
Yeah.
And it wrapped up one of our bunnies, and my wife was out back and she was like, oh my God. And she like took a stick and stabbed it in the head, but it wouldn't stop wrapping the rest of its body around the rabbit. And she's like, it was just her and my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter at the time was 10 years old. And she was like, screaming my daughter's name, like, come here, bring a knife. Oh my God. And this was my youngest daughter's rabbit. And my youngest daughter just heard my wife crying for help because the rabbit was being killed. She grabbed the largest butcher knife in the kitchen, she could find, ran downstairs, and without hesitation, she literally sawed that snake in half. It instantly let go of the rabbit and like slithered into a hole and died. The half of it that was the half that was like the back half laid there that she cut.
Went out
and the
straight
front
saved
half,
a rabbit. You ain't taking my rabbit.
and the front half, and then I did, of course, do that one story about when I accidentally shot that one antelope up the rear end.
We're at Main Street.
Yeah, that was bad. But so
life.
all right, so I've done two.
It's a circle.
You've done two. You've done two. Okay, so we're back to you.
So
All
this
right.
is an interesting one, and it's a poll of the internet. So,
Cody says he was hunting one time for toilet paper, couldn't find it.
oh,
It's been happening a lot lately, hasn't
Wait.
it?
And then there's
all right. So, a full-grown great white versus full-grown polar bear in an Olympic-sized swimming pool that is 7 feet deep and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Who wins?
Huh.
great white.
I don't know, though, because great whites, don't they have a better hunting advantage when they have a larger body of water to work with? Because 7 feet kind of feels like they wouldn't have a whole lot of maneuverability.
Well,
We're
a lot
talking
of-
like a normal-sized great white.
A lot of sharks attack in shallow waters, but great whites can be like a ton. They can be huge.
A full size average is going to be about 14 feet and about 3,000 pounds. So it's basically going to be a beached whale is what it's going to look like. But she probably, because it's a lot of females, is going to be still mobile and be just basically a mouthful of...
Right, being in water is still their element.
Yep. And still be able to swim, even though the thing is going to be really tight. And it's just a mouthful of teeth. I don't care what that bear is capable of. He or she is out of its element, in water, has a mouth with a few...
Well, polar bears aren't completely out of their element in water.
No.
And they can be out of water, no problem, too. If he gets...
They're out of their element with a shark.
Well, yeah, sure.
Totally,
Sharks are
dude.
better, but...
No freaking way they're good. And
As
sharks,
much as I'm terrified of polar bears and they're badass and they can shred people no problems and they basically anything else out there, I guess I'd have to lean the advantage towards the great white because he's still in his element in water, and that's still enough.
You have to remember, great whites, when they mate, attack each other and rip each other apart, and then they heal. No big deal. And you see these humongous scars from their teeth. These are the sharpest teeth out there.
Well, they both
and
could eat
destroy each
And
other.
there's rows and rows of them.
And I could see the bear latching onto the top and like biting on the back, and this thing's attacking, and all these teeth are just ripping into the flesh of his legs and stuff. He would bleed out
Unless...
and get dizzy and
Because
fall
you
down.
they
talk
grab a
about-
hold of
He
it,
would
and
be
then they're
dead.
giant muscles,
Great
so they
white
just
would
jerk
win.
around, and the next thing you know, you're just ripped
They
up and
said a
shredded.
7-foot pool. How long did you say this bear was? Or this...
No, 7
Well,
foot
7 foot
deep.
deep.
You sure? Oh,
says 7 foot
7 foot
deep.
deep. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't say how long it
It
was.
says a
Right.
standard.
Standard
Well,
Olympic-sized pool.
Olympic sized pool means 50 yards.
Okay, well, fudge.
Yeah,
How about
definitely
wide?
great wide advantage.
Yeah, great wide advantage, bro. Sorry. It's good. Like I said, it's going to look
I
like
want
a
to give it
beach
to the
whale.
polar bear. For some reason I do, but
I really want to give
common
him like
sense just kicks in and goes, no.
What if the polar bear has a Coca-Cola before?
Well,
it's in too good of a mood? He's not
Only-
in the fighting
only
mood.
if there's a cute
Take the
polar bear
Coca-Cola
baby.
away from it.
Well, what if that shark ate her babies first?
nope.
I mean, it'd be more pissed off, but
What if it started off behind the shark? I guess you can't get behind a shark in a pool that's that big, probably.
yeah, I wonder how quickly
The
a shark
problem
can
is
180.
the polar bear would have to either be swimming, which is really bad, or just standing, which is the only real option. And if he's standing, his legs from the waist down are totally vulnerable, and he has to stand and use his arms and head for the attack. The arms and head for the attack are deadly, but waist down is just totally and completely screwed.
Yeah, what if the polar bear was Chuck Norris?
Well, that's just not fair because then who would win in another fight, Chuck Norris or a Chuck Norris polar bear? I mean,
I don't know.
What if it was Chuck Norris wearing a polar bear?
Oh, you know what? Still advantage great white because guess what? There's only one Chuck Norris and he's not a polar bear.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Oh, Lord. Well, I figured. Because it's
And if,
79.
if there was a Chuck Norris polar bear, Chuck Norris would have already roundhouse kicked it to death.
It said 79% of people agree with you.
What?
That's
Great
a
white?
shark, yeah.
Yeah, it would be a shark.
Yeah. If it was a regular, my backyard swimming pool that was 7 feet deep, I mean, probably the polar bear just because he could maneuver around better and the shark has no option. But what I want to know, too, is how quickly can a great white 180, like just completely flip around?
Well, in that shallow of water.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
deep water, it can,
I
20
always
knots. You
do
always.
TMI. Always too much information on these answers,
Well, at
but
least
that's
you don't
just
have
who
to
I
answer
am. I don't. Yeah, I'm
we
a
all
straight
love
shooter.
to overanalyze.
Yeah, I'm a straight shooter. I tell people exactly my answer and why, and my answers leave nothing to the imagination for sure. But okay, so this is an imaginary question.
Made up.
We are on a date.
Oh, it's
what?
imaginary
with a-
now?
with-
Dang.
Yep, you're on a date with a very, very attractive woman.
Well,
okay?
that's imaginary for sure.
Yep.
Anyway.
Would you rather leave the date for 10 minutes to go number 2 or hold it and hope for the best?
I have experience in holding it.
Yeah, it's
I've
never good to hold it.
Been on a lot of
Like you said, just be honest, man. Just take care of it. Like, hey, I'm gonna be gone for a little while. It's embarrassing to do on a date, but just so you don't have to wonder or make you think that I stood you up or ducked out or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in the bathroom
Yeah,
for a
but
little
It's
while.
10 minutes. It's 10 minutes.
I mean,
to
can
take
you
a number
really
2.
do that in 10 minutes?
That'll give her plenty of time to text message
How
her
long does it
girlfriend and be
take
like,
you?
"What am I doing here?"
Some people, I could do it in less, but I'm just saying.
If once you're in the military, man, it's like a 2 minute or less thing. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
I could either crap quicker than 10 minutes and be back, or I could hold it for the rest of the night.
Get rid of that, private.
And it
now.
would actually keep me from doing anything stupid probably the rest of the night, because I'd be like, I got to go home because eventually I got to take care of this.
So you're gone for 10 minutes. You have to leave the hot woman for 10 minutes and take a number 2, or you got to hold it and hope for the best.
Also depends on the
I'm
conversation.
gonna take it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go.
You're gonna
take care
leave
of
for
that.
10 minutes.
I would
Take it
rather
away.
have the rest of the date go better than have to sit there and have to think about holding it the entire
the
time.
whole rest of the time.
Yeah.
You're gonna hold it. And
You
hope
could
for the
ruin a
best?
really good date
Well-
by not being honest about that.
I guess it really depends on the crap, doesn't it? If it was one of those things,
You don't know.
and I'm in the middle of a conversation with this woman. It's a good conversation, and it doesn't feel like that bad. I might pinch it off initially, and then if it comes back,
Yeah, I see Matt knows
and it
where
comes
I'm at.
back with a vengeance, that's when I'll say, okay, well, I got to go pretend. I'll be back.
Ray Rock says you gotta go. You gotta go. Matt B says it wouldn't take 10 minutes, but the card says it does take 10 minutes, so you
Right.
have to go off.
So
what
if
the
you're
card
forced
says.
to sit there for 10 full minutes
Yep.
and
Well, sure.
get a little bit of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes taken care of, you had a raid, you got to finish up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta blame the game.
Yeah.
Blame the game. Sorry,
You got to drop trow completely all the way down to your knees and crap in the urinal. Wait.
Cody. Oh, this is hilarious. Cody says, "If you can't accept me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best."
Oh, yeah.
Poops pants. Poops pants.
Genius. Throw that right back in their face. Yeah.
Okay, so we got you saying you're just gonna go. You saying that you're gonna try and hold it. So my answer is A. I'd have to go because I actually had a bilateral hernia
Well, that makes sense.
when I was 4.5, almost 5. Bilateral hernia surgery, and unfortunately, if anyone knows anything about internal surgeries, especially back then, when you have surgeries like that, you get a lot of scarification, and those scars start to create a lot of natural internal pull. Unfortunately, when I have to go,
You gotta go.
I have to go. And if I try and hold it, I get a stabbing pain that feels like a knife is stabbing me in the gut.
A poop knife?
Nope. It feels like someone is. If I have to go to the bathroom and I try and hold it, even for a second, it feels like someone's stabbing me in the knife in the gut. Straight up, dude. I'm being as serious as day, dude. Like the worst pain in the world.
He derailed me with poop knife.
Yeah, getting stabbed in the gut. So I actually can't even attempt to hold it.
Oh man.
So if I'm in public and I'm just like, I'll see you in a minute, and I'm in the middle of a conversation, there's a reason for that, man. Like I can't. Yep. There is no holds barred. I could be in the middle of a very important anything. It does not matter. I could be at work and they're like,
too many road trips, man.
you cannot. Yeah, you cannot leave for the next hour, and I could be in 10 minutes and be like, peace, and they're like, you can't leave, and I'm like, watch me.
Yeah.
It's literally medically necessary for me to get up because I have a knife stabbing me in the gut right now is what it feels like.
Just too many road trips for me. It allows me the ability to hold it multiple times.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But the good thing is when I have to go.
Next time I have to go, it's horrible.
I'm like Ray Rock's roommate, man. I'm out within less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just in, boom, out, boom, diggity, diggity, biggity, boom.
If I have to be out in and out, I can be, but I've got too much time on my hands, so I utilize it.
Too much.
I got time on it.
You know?
Ra-ta-ta-ta.
Not that I have to sit there for an hour by any means,
I'm
but
in
you
the
know,
toilet.
sometimes it's
He's in
nice
the
to let
toilet.
it I like to relax it out as opposed to force it
That
out.
would be rough
you know?
if you're rat-ta-ta-ta-ing in the toilet.
Ra-ta-ta-ta in the toilet.
Who, me?
Yeah, but you only get to do 2 of those 3.
I know. I'm just kind of narrowing it down as I go along. See,
Then you're going to insist you did one of those, even though you didn't.
Right, probably. This is just going to be a good lesson one, so I kind of want to go with it, but I kind of don't, so I'll leave that one up to the end.
Lesson in
So
nutrition.
here's I like this one. We'll switch gears a little bit here.
Switch gears.
So, and this is a pull the internet. So actually the last couple of ones were pull the internet. I never talked about what the poll results were.
It really hurts.
Oops.
Oh, by the way, 57% chose B. They would rather just hold it. A little over half the people would rather hold it.
Interesting. What?
Yikes.
I don't like to be that uptight on a date.
I know. Uptight.
I'm already uptight.
Yeah.
It's
That's two reasons to be uptight then.
It's like,
Especially with a really hot girl. So another poll the internet. Would you rather be filthy rich in 1900 or poor now?
Filthy rich in 1900 or poor now? Well, I'd say probably filthy rich in 1900 because I like the Victorian age. You know, I'd have a big old handlebar mustache, look like the Monopoly guy. You know, top hat. And you know what? At 1900, we haven't had the stock market crash yet. So who knows what happens after that? I might be like, you know, building up my...
I mean, with that logic, you could, you know, make a bad move and lose it all when the crash happens. So,
But how old am I? Am I my age? That's like, you know...
Yeah, right now.
Lots of
20 years
factors.
later.
You're going back in
That's 30
time.
years later. 30 years after now, I'm an old man. It won't matter. You know?
I don't know. I don't
And I think
I
this is
wanna
also
go
assuming,
back.
too, that you wouldn't know what's going to happen in the future. I mean,
I'm just
obviously, you
saying,
wouldn't have
though.
that kind of forethought to
I know
go,
now,
I can make this move now.
I'm just saying, like, if I'm filthy rich at 1900 and I'm in my late 30s or whatever, I'm going to be in my late 60s when the stock market crashes.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I would take being poor
I
now.
might be dead by then.
I would take being poor now, and this is why. I make myself. I don't need anyone to give me a leg up. I can do it. I can make it up for myself. I can pull myself up by my bootstraps, metaphorically, because I know AOC would say that that's impossible. But no,
AOC's a myth. She doesn't exist in my mind. There's nobody can be that
poor
stupid.
now.
I can do it, and I would rather be in the here and the now. I think the opportunities are better now, and I know how to utilize the vehicle that is the 21st
There is no vehicle.
century.
It's a carriage in
The
1900.
21st century. I would be lost if I went back 100 years. I wouldn't know the first thing about anything back
Well,
then.
luckily, I love history.
I'd be like, well, park my horse over there and get me a bottle of gin.
I have a carriage and I have a barn. It doesn't really matter. I'm not the one taking care of it. I'm rich as crap.
Well,
I drink brandy and smoke cigars.
I agree with you, Warrior, completely, because back in the 1900s, you could die from a cold. Modern science was terrible. I would much rather
Not
be poor
quite
now
filthy rich.
in the best time of world history and American history. This is the best time in the world in the world to be now. So
I'd be too old for World War
would,
One, and be
there's so many more opportunities right now to not be poor. There's
Rare.
just no excuse for
Okay,
that.
here's-
I mean, 1900s, you could lose it all for any given
Your
reason.
president in 1900 is Teddy Roosevelt. That's all I gotta say.
Oh,
I'm solid.
I get you. Still rather be in the modern age.
Yep.
I already live now, so I've already been poor. I've already lived now.
They would just rub cocaine on your teeth and say
Yeah.
sorry while
Because
they pull
of
them.
my privilege of being born in America and having the opportunities like everybody here has equally, it's just a no-brainer. Yeah, I have much more opportunity here
21st
now
century.
than I did back then, being rich back then.
21st century, faux show. Faux show. All right.
And I've been poor before, so
Well,
it's nothing new.
Also, if I'm a rich artist, that'd be kind of interesting in the early 1900s.
There's no such thing. You got to die first. Okay, there now.
well, there you
Now
go.
you're-
Then you guys can
now
be
you're
filthy
rich.
rich off me when in the
Yes.
2000s or whatever.
Now we'll plunder your goal. You will plunder your art, and
Yeah,
it'll
exactly.
be worth a lot.
Exactly, because I'd be this old artist from the early 1900s who was filthy rich somehow, but not as an artist.
Yeah,
Odd.
but your artwork would be limited edition.
Yeah. And I'd probably die before 1925.
Yep.
But that's just fine by me at this point.
Yep.
Because we'd have to deal with like Calvin Coolidge and such.
That tapping transfers right through.
Does it?
Yes.
Excellent.
Excellent. Not so much.
Okay, sorry.
What's
This is
it-
this is the
this
last one,
translates?
and since
Yeah, tapping that goes right
you can
through.
hear that?
Yes.
Yeah,
they
you hear me now?
Good.
You hear me now? Good.
Later,
Sorry.
Andrew.
Bye, Andrew. Gosh.
Zevia says he's a 21st century. Yep. The digital era. I couldn't give that.
I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read
with all the negatives.
read by candlelight. You know,
All
maybe
this
I'd
technology
invest.
has made me lazy. I'm too lazy to try and learn how to work without it.
Maybe I'd invest in electricity
Yep.
at the turn of the century.
Yeah. Invest in Tesla, not Edison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he would do better. I don't know.
He would have if he
He's doing
wasn't-
better now.
He would have if he wasn't sabotaged his whole life.
That'd be
Poor
fun.
guy.
But it's saying I might be friends with TR. It might be cool.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Um,
There would be good things. Don't get me wrong.
yeah. My favorite president other than Lincoln. So,
Mm-hmm.
this is basically in part of like the game itself is kind of a bar stooly kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
So I just picked it and see, you know,
Yeah, to go back to that, 85% of Barstool readers chose being rich in the 1900s. So Will and I are the odd ones
they
out.
must have been
And I guess
thinking
some of
about
you
it
are too.
when they were, you know, drinking.
Yeah.
Like I just
Oh,
wanna be rich.
rich no matter
You wanted to go back in time, so you're with the You're with the 85%. That's
Mm-hmm.
15%ers right here.
Yeah. Weird.
15%.
Anyway,
Unique, dumb.
this is
you
not
decide.
a percentile, whatever. So what's the worst drunk food you can eat after a night of drinking? Worst drunk food, and not Taco Bell. No. Experience.
Drunk food.
We make a lot of poor decisions after having alcohol in our system, and sometimes we get really hungry.
Yeah. So normally anything that gives you like acid indigestion type stuff, because
Yeah.
the alcohol already does that a
Yeah.
lot of times. And so if you have indigestion already and then you add to that like
Copenhagen, no such thing. Experienced drunk munchier, huh?
tofu,
Well, as long as you got your
Shawarma.
poop knife, you're good to go, right?
Shawarma.
Shawarma,
Shawarma.
tofu.
chili cheese fries with ketchup.
I don't know, because I mean, I guess rarely in my life have I ever been drunk munchies, you know. So like, I need food like right now, which is probably why I have such horrible hangovers.
I've had nachos.
I
that
could
are
tell
really
you
bad.
what's the worst food in our town, Grand Junction, Colorado.
Oh, snap.
But it's only because every time I've eaten it after drinking, I've gotten physically ill.
Oh, every Chinese place? No.
Nope. Wiener Schnitzel.
Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh yeah.
They're the best
Haven't done
tasting dogs in town.
Haven't
They're
done
actually
that.
a California, like whatever you want to call it, like they've got like
Conglomerate.
yeah,
cabal.
conglomerate. They got a bunch of them in California, but they've got like one outside of California, and it's here. Weirdly enough, it's like here.
Oh no, we got the one that's a main standalone, but we got two that are in gas stations.
Yeah.
Well, now, but I mean, they're a California thing, but then out of nowhere, they're like, I think the guy
Schnitzel.
retired, came to Grand Junction to retire, and he's
Right.
like, well, I'm going to put a couple here. But Wiener Schnitzel is the best. I mean, when you're when you're drunk, you like eat them and you're like, oh, they're so good. But then like
5 later,
they don't like wash their hands, and they're like their food's been sitting out all day, and they've got like buckets of like chili cheese. That's
Better chance of E. coli than
they've got like buckets of chili, and like the bucket is like old paint buckets, and they're just like pulling up the paint bucket and scooping some out, and it's just so
I don't
bad.
eat there, and now you just gave me more reason not to.
Yeah, and so like you eat it, and you're just like, this is the best ever. It's on a bagel
And then you
bun.
think for a second, realize where it came from, and then
chili cheese. No.
No,
I don't even think. I just eat it. It's delicious.
You're just like, hey, it's so good.
And then like 3 hours later, you're like physically ill. Your stomach is like, what? Nope. Check, please. And your stomach's like, we can't. There's no. We can't.
I knew there's
do
a reason
this.
I picked this.
Yep. We gotta.
We have a Wiener Schnitzel.
This has to go back that way. Sorry.
your drunk mind wrote a check that your stomach couldn't cash.
Yeah.
Yep. And all of a sudden, it's coming out both ways.
I can't say anything specifically.
Multiple
I'm
times.
a little bit on par with Copenhagen. I guess if I was drunk enough to actually get the munchies, and there's probably no such thing as a horrible drunk munchies food, but I'm sure if I thought about it longer, I could come up with something. I just can't really think of anything off the top of my head.
Matt B says SureShot Chinese barbecue is a must when drinking, and I would agree with that for sure.
Chinese barbecue.
Chinese barbecue.
I love to have
yum.
Chinese food, just in general. Like in a long night, I don't like to bother with heating it up. If it's like been sitting in the fridge or whatever, if I had it for lunch.
Oh, I just had my wife's stir fry a couple nights ago. It was so
sounds tasty.
good.
Definitely could use some of her egg rolls again sometime.
Yeah,
those are
good
delicious.
times.
Yeah, those are amazing. No, her stir fry.
Amaze balls.
And I don't know, a lot of people out there don't even realize it, but the ramen noodles, you don't use the packets that come with it. You just take the ramen noodles, you put them in water, boil them slightly to where they get soft, just soft enough. And
El
then,
dente.
and then you open them up, and then you actually put them in oil and deep fry them. And then you take them and you break them up. And that is your noodle base. And then you make the stir fry with all of your, whatever, like
ingredients,
you use beef or chicken or whatever. But then you use all of your veggies and stuff and make your sauce and all that. And then you
Roll
put
it
that
up in your rice
you put that
paper.
over your deep fried noodles, and it's, oh my gosh, dude, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I had your leftover
And
version of
I'm
it one
hungry.
day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, that was way back, like 2 years ago.
Oh,
Like, here, have
it's-
the rest of this. I'm like, sure.
It is so good. But
Haven't
no,
tasted
the egg rolls. So the thing with the egg rolls is it's the prep. It takes like 8 hours if you do it all by yourself because of all the prepping of everything. So if you guys want to help with prep, she'll make them.
All right.
It's just somebody's got to like help cut everything up. She doesn't want to do it all by herself, but if people are willing to work and help her, she'll do it. It's a lot of prep work.
Yeah.
Her egg rolls are like, they're like Chinese burritos. Her grandfather, Grandpa Get, is from China. My wife's Chinese, and her grandfather is Grandpa Get. He's from China, and he came to America and opened up a Chinese restaurant, and he has these, we call them Get egg rolls, which is hilarious because that could literally take off as a like franchise. Get egg rolls, right. It'd be hilarious, one for $3 or 2 for $5, and they're freaking huge and they're amazing. Anyone that's ever had them is like, these are the best egg rolls I've ever had in my life. And they're different. They're different than anyone's ever had. I can't tell you about the secret sauce. Please don't say anything, you guys. They're amazing though. They're different. They're thick with beef. I mean, they are literally like,
well, like 90% of them are made with cabbage. And unless you actually cook it down and reduce it to the point where you're not just crunching into the hardest leaf lettuce ever, then you're not doing it right.
But when you eat hers, there is cabbage in there, but it's like
it's prepared properly.
10% cabbage. It's not even like that. And then the outside's super crispy, but it's like
sauteed
it's
cabbage.
like 80% beef. It's like so much.
It's like a taquito for China.
It's so sweet and salty and delicious, and it's, oh my gosh, it's so
Chinito.
good. And they're huge. And you eat 2 of them, and then you're like full, and you're like, oh no.
I can't
Oh
even eat
no,
stir-fry
I
now.
want
What's
to
up?
shove more in. Okay, well, at least do 3, maybe
know.
4.
Yeah,
Yep,
so
and I'm hungry.
Yeah, didn't have any breakfast. That's nice. We ran late, so we didn't have
And
donuts.
Matt, I'll agree with you to a certain extent, Chinese barbecue, but you haven't been to the Chinese places here.
Matt, come to Grand Junction and try them out, brother. He says he never knew that about ramen until after he learned his wife. You learned your wife, huh?
It's always good to learn your wife.
Yeah, learn your wife, baby.
Dude, you're never going to learn your wife.
Maybe that's
you
a
try.
Matt
You could
/
try.
learn his wife. Yeah.
All right, so you did all your questions.
Yeah.
I'm on my question.
Oh, my hand, I broke it.
Oh no, this is a terrible question. Would you rather date a girl who laughs at everything?
Oh no.
Everything.
Depends on her laugh, I guess. But...
Or laughs at nothing ever.
Ooh.
Just stone cold Steve Austin just stares at you.
Ouch.
Laughs at everything you say or never laughs at anything.
Well, I've met girls that laughed at a lot of things I said, and then hang out with them like a year later, and they don't laugh at anything you say, and it's like I don't know what to feel about
Get
this.
over the annoyance of not funny things being laughed at all the time. I mean, I guess it all depends on the type of laugh too. If she's got a really annoying laugh, then that could just be hell.
And if
But
she's just
you know,
laughing at
but if you're just that in love with her that you don't care, and it's just the most, I mean, like demoralized by never being funny enough, or
right.
annoyed by always being funny.
Well, what if it was like the Mandy Moore from Scrubs, and she always just said, "That's funny." She never laughed. She just said,
Cody
"That's
says
funny."
no laughing is way more tolerable, which I think is true. But could you imagine if they never laughed? Although I've been around women that laugh all the time about everything, and it does get kind of old.
Yeah, I mean, I fancy myself a okay, funny guy, but yeah, to never have him laugh at anything, I think I'm too much of a words of affirmation kind of guy. I think that might make me.
It might be rough after a while.
Yeah, I'll take the fake laughing for 500.
Can
Bob.
she write? Okay,
that's difficult no matter how you
can
look
she
at it.
text me LOL? At least text me LOL or the laughy face. Oh,
I
she
mean,
was laughing. So
you know,
deep
and
down.
I am strong enough too that I can adapt to anything. So yeah, I could adapt to never being laughed at. That's a possibility.
man.
So you know,
You'd
I
rather
don't know.
take the never laughing then?
I don't know what I'd
depends
wanna
on her
take.
laugh.
I think
man.
I'm kind of 50-50 here.
There's
and-
certain girls out there you like their laugh. There's girls just like, oh my gosh.
Cody says, so I'm dating a clown or a corpse?
yeah, right.
It's a machine gun.
Yeah, I guess provided I enjoy her laugh and it's not horridly annoying, I'd rather her laugh at everything. If it was a horribly annoying laugh, then
it's
I would.
either or. Either crickets chirping or
You know, maybe that would encourage me to become a stand-up comedian because I'd be seeking out laughter from everybody else. You know,
no.
Maybe. Well, as long as the YouTube thing, kicks off correctly, even then you don't really get anybody to laugh. You
What do you-
just have to hope they laugh.
Where'd your cards go?
Yeah, hope that the comments pop
put 'em
up
up
enough
there.
to say, "Oh, laugh out
Wah, wah,
loud."
wah.
Oh, ha, ha, ha.
So,
Where
do
they're
you
supposed
want to
to go.
know what the internet thought?
No.
They'd rather not laugh, probably. I'm guessing.
80% would rather her laugh at everything.
Oh, wow, man.
Man, those are some superficial dudes.
I tell you.
The internet's like, just make her laugh at everything.
Oh, I can acknowledge my superficiality sometimes. It's definitely there. Yeah, man, I don't know about that one.
Like I said, if
can't-
she can
I
find
can't
other
decide.
ways to affirm that it's funny, like I could get laughter out of other people.
She's
that's
like,
fine.
that's funny.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm kind of used to it. If she does the Mandy Moore thing from Scrubs and says that's funny every
that's
time you laugh,
funny.
it's like I guess.
Okay.
I don't know
Alright.
how to laugh, but that's funny.
There, you can put those up
That's
there.
affirmation. That's words.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Not
That's
like she's a
funny.
mute. I mean, she can talk to you.
Yeah, and knowing the way a lot of these fantasy questions work, I mean, you just have to assume that it's a horridly annoying laugh. So yeah, I guess I'd go with no laughter.
There's an expression.
Because there's
Bass
ways
Reich,
for her to tell me that it was still funny.
laughing women is half in your bed. So
So if you're
Bass
like
Reich
watching a
says-
comedy or something, she's laughing the whole time. You can't even hear what's going on in the
So
movie.
he's saying a laughing woman is halfway in your bed. So if you wanted,
That's
you know,
true. The way to a lot of women's heart is
laughter.
your laughter.
So if
and
they're
your
laughing,
humor,
so maybe Bass
Yeah.
Reich's onto something. I don't know.
See, now everybody knows why I'm tormented by this. I'm back
Yeah.
and forth.
As she can not laugh and
So
still
what's
be
the
with
last
you.
one you're going to go with? Do you know?
Trying to decide which one's more funny because there's a life lesson in here.
Oh
This
no.
one's kind of funny. We've
Okay, I go
already
to the
talked
restroom
about
and come
food. We
back?
haven't
Can
talked
you
about
make your
racism
decision?
yet.
I know. Let's just put on the hold music and
Yeah.
we'll come back to this. Should have grabbed 4.
I know. Well, that one's not as funny. Now I sit here and think about it because it's kind of an easy answer. This one's a hard answer, and I think it'll get a lot of you thinking.
All right.
And it's also pull the internet, and I'll try to remember the stats afterwards.
All right.
Can you still go to your barber if he's very racist?
Oh yeah, I remember reading this one too.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Can you go to your barber if he's a racist? So yes.
If he's very racist.
Yes. So,
I'll let you guys answer first because I have an opinion on this.
yeah. So this is difficult. And I think it's kind of gray. It really depends.
It is.
I think that if it's one of those things where from the outside and you walk in and everything looks normal, but you sit down and he just yakety yaks and it's the things out of his mouth are super bad, but he does a phenomenal job and cuts your hair for a really dang good deal, you could probably tolerate it for the really good deal and a really good haircut. Especially someone like me who you go to like 14 places and they all destroy your hair, and then you find someone who does amazing and it's a good deal and you're like, oh my gosh, he cuts my hair perfectly every time. I don't have to say anything and it's right. Because I have a guy that I go to that like, I don't say anything. I sit in the chair, he does it perfectly, and he's the cheapest in town, and I always tip him to make it the same as everywhere else because I appreciate the fact that I don't say anything and he does it right. But he's not a racist. No, he's not a racist. He's a sexist.
And well, so it's still kind of a thing. Yeah.
And so he's like
it's kind of the same line.
There's like girls next door that are like, they're a salon. And so there's always women coming and going. And so he's always bagging on the women coming and going out the door. And I just sit there and like listen to him. And so this is why the analogy plays out and makes sense to me. I'm like, I have to just sit there and like quietly listen to his like stupidity. But again, 20 years of having my hair butchered, and I'm just like, I can walk in, sit down, and I don't say anything, and he just does a perfect job. And I'm in and out within like 15, 20 minutes max.
It's always nice.
It's always nice. And even with a tip.
And you put up with his sexism.
Yep. And even with his tip, he's still the same or less than all those like crappy places that you can get your hair cut, like cost cutters and stuff. He's still the same price or cheaper than them. And he does a phenomenal job of hacking my hair down. And I don't say anything. So it's quick. Now, if it's racism and the place is littered with like racist stuff and it's on
swastikas.
And it's on the outside and he's like wearing a white suit and like I have to walk into this place where like on the outside there's like a swastika in the window and stuff. Wow. At that point, you are now
walk in there.
You are now associating.
You wouldn't even want to walk in there.
Yeah, you are now associating yourself with that. You're by walking in, you're saying, exactly. I am supporting publicly this public organization that publicly supports all of this. And at that point, you're now supporting, and it could be anything. I mean, it could be like, Black Power, Black Panther thing.
What if it's a black guy that cuts your hair?
Yeah, it could be like, it could say like ISIS, and it could have stuff. I mean,
didn't you hear? As far as society is concerned, there's no such thing as a racist black person.
I know, I'm just saying.
Well, anyway, it could be women. It could be anything. And if you walk in there and it's well known publicly and you walk in there, even if you're trying to do the same thing that I was just talking about, it's perception versus reality, right? You could just be going in, sitting down and leaving, but because you physically walked in there, you are now being judged.
Financially supporting a racist.
You're being physically judged. I would probably just say, you know what? I'm going to have to find someone else somewhere else. Sucky, but I'm going to have to find someone because I can't go in there because, perception's reality and I don't want people to, be judging me simply because I'm going in there and stuff like that. So that's difficult. But I would have to, at that point, if it was that overt, I would have to choose another place. But if it wasn't as overt as that,
in his conversations,
it was just in his conversations, I would just ignore the man.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's my thing. I'm in a strange position. I cut my own hair. And when I did have hair, my mom cut my hair. And when I didn't have my mom to cut my hair, I'd cut my hair. So I pretty much have only had my hair cut by maybe one other woman my entire life. And she wasn't like the most well-groomed person in the world, and it didn't bother me or nothing. But basically I would just go and shave my own head at that point. If I still had hair, I would just go shave my own head. I'd just say, what the heck with it. It's not worth it. It's cheaper that way too. And I don't look bad with a shaved head, obviously. So I just
and assuming this person is very racist enough that you would know it and he or she would make conversation about it the entire time, that would get annoying, and I wouldn't want to support them, and I wouldn't go there.
You have to come back every 2 weeks or 3 weeks to have to hear that again.
But I'm personally of the opinion that the majority of people these days, because there's a lot of racist acts that activists do, and they think they're trying to help out a minority, but yet they're actually being horribly racist while doing it, and they don't ever realize it or acknowledge it. So there's people like that in the world, and that they still get supported, and they still get money, and they still get airtime on TV. So lots of TV shows like The View for one. But There's also, I'm more of the opinion that there are people, as far as if there was a problem with racism in this country, which I don't think there is, I think it's more about the people who think racist than the people who act racist. And I think there's a big difference between the two because
So there's a thing. There is a small percentage, very small percentage of people who are racist. There will always be that. It will never go away.
Yep.
Always. You can't get rid of evil.
Like so many things that are innate in people's minds,
you can't get rid of
what
evil.
you do about it as opposed to what you think about it. If you think it and you know it's bad and you never act about it, then that's one thing. That's
evil will exist
like you're 95% of
as long as the world exists.
Yeah. There's always going to be racism. You can't get rid of it, period. Bottom line, it'll always exist.
If it's illegal, it'll go underground.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just going to always be there, but it is far less overt and large than people make it out to be. There are areas of the country where it's non-existent and areas of the country where it's overt and much bigger a deal. I mean, you can go in areas of the country where there's blacks being racist to whites and whites being racist to blacks, where it's overt in each other's faces. And then there's places where, like where we live, where blacks, whites, Mexicans are all totally legit fine with each other and nobody sees any racist acts. And then like somebody sort of smirks at someone and it's like they get jumped by everybody, it's like, what are you thinking? So it's
magnifying glasses, depending.
1 to 3% of society is always going to be racist. It's always going to exist. You can't get rid of it. So
we always focus on the 1 to 3%.
But it's not 50% like people want to believe and like, the fake media wants us to believe. So,
hey, but they get a right to vote, unfortunately, too.
Yeah.
So there is that. But
if I could tell that the person was a racist but didn't act it and didn't, be racist towards other people, I could completely overlook it. If he's overt and, blatantly tells minorities to get out of his shop and he won't cut their hair, then obviously I'm not going to go there. I think that's kind of an easy decision to make because somebody will make it well known.
But I mean, I would have a problem with it if it wasn't, like you said, if he told minorities to get out, but that's an assumption that he's a white person. That's why I said
minorities in general.
So in my life, I'm a white dude, but and I believe there's a lot of whites that are, not a lot, but I mean, there are some whites that are racist for sure. But I've experienced racism twice personally, actually 3 times in my life, and I'm a white dude. The first time was when I was a kid in Lincoln, Nebraska. In Lincoln, surprisingly, there's a very large.
We're all white?
No, there's a very large gang population, and where I lived, it was me, my brother, Kamar, and John. Kamar and John were black, and they were our best friends. For 10 years, we grew up. My brother and I grew up, and Kamar and John grew up. And Kamar and I were the same age, and John and my brother were the same age. And so we were like best of buddies. There was zero racism for us because we were best buds. Kamar and John's dad was the most racist person I've ever met. The dude wouldn't let me sit on his own couch. He wouldn't let me sit at their table. He treated me like a dog when I was in their house because I was white. He wouldn't let me even be upstairs. He told when we came over to visit his sons, he made me go downstairs. And he said very overt things to us, which is fine. I was a kid. I didn't care, but I experienced overt racism from him. And I'm sure it's because of the things he experienced as a child and growing up.
And he turned it into the
but
other
then
way.
He turned it around and unduly treated me like crap when I was just a kid that didn't know anything about racism.
Right.
And then when I moved, I got a Hispanic population here in Junction. There's a really high Hispanic population that was very racist against the white population here in town. And I got beat up on an almost daily basis when I first moved here because I was white and I did nothing. I knew nothing about this whole back and forth thing. And I got totally jumped and I got chased for the first year I was here on an almost daily basis by Marco and his, gang of thugs. And I got bricks thrown at me and I got chased every day and stuff. And I was like, what is this? And they were like, racist slurs and being chased down. I was like, what is this? The third time I went into the Navy and I was a minority. I was like, holy cow. Cause in middle school, high school, we had a lot of Hispanics and whites, but we didn't have a whole lot of any other race. And then when I got in the Navy, there was a ton of Filipinos and blacks and Hispanics and Koreans and whites. And so, but I was actually, as a white dude, I was actually a minority and I was blown away. And I was like, this is cool. But there was a ton of overt racism.
There's a lot of baggage out there
because there was a lot of baggage and I was fine with it. I was like, this is really cool. There's
the
a
media
huge
fans
diversity.
that flame and tosses gas on it as much as they can.
And in fact, my first girlfriend in the Navy was a light-skinned Filipino. Her name was Michelle Lim. She was from the Philippines. and she was awesome. But there was racism there, and so I see racism, so I know it exists, but it's not as big of a deal as people make it out to be, but it does exist. And two, a lot of it goes multiple directions. Like people get treated like crap, so then they start treating people like crap.
Right.
I don't allow my past experiences with those scenarios to like jade me and like make me be like, oh, I'm going to be Mr. White supremacist now. You know what I mean?
I know there's situational racism all the time, but there's no such thing as systemic racism.
Hate is colorblind.
Our country, our judicial system is not set up racist and goes specifically against minorities. So there's that.
Is colorblind.
I think there could be in certain
situational
situations, some systemic aspects, but I don't think as an entirety of our entire country, I don't think there's an entire systemic setup. But I do think in some things, like, I think in Alabama, there are some, jurisdictions, some counties that have some systemic racism because there's some homes that are
too many people get together with a similar mentality and starts to let that go unchecked. Yeah,
some places it's just a class problem.
Right. And I just totally threw out a random state. I'm sorry, that was totally wrong of me, but I just throwing out an example. You know what I mean?
They say stereotypes exist for a reason, and Alabama, from what I can tell, is not doing a whole lot to change that stereotype. So.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's just one of those things.
Bo Jackson is their best, athlete that ever came out of Alabama, and he's black and he's amazing. So
he is. He's amazing. Well, anyway, that was all the questions. It is now story time. Time to do story time and then get out of here.
Wanted to end you all on a thinker.
I know, right? We went totally into racism. That was crazy.
Well, it was. I mean,
that was nuts.
Topic.
So story time comes from yesterday. So I've been doing a lot during COVID. Specifically, let's put you guys down a little bit. And so what I've been doing is we've been going four-wheeling a lot. We've been going hiking a lot. I think we've gone on like 6 hikes, a couple of four-wheel things. And I decided to add biking. By the way, I can't believe I've been sitting this entire time. My butt is so sore from my friend Dilstradamus. He gave me he gave me a bike. He gave me a bike to ride. And the bike he gave me to ride is his older bike. And it has like basically a brick as a seat, and he's like, "I'm sorry, man." He's like, "You're gonna be sore." I'm like, "What do I do about it?" He's like,
"Stand."
He's like, "Stand, or you get used to it over time." But he's like, "You're gonna be sore today," and he's like, "Sorry, bro." And I was like, "Oh no, this is gonna be, it's gonna be a mess." But anyway, so we went on a bike ride, and most of it was pretty easy because it was my first bike ride in a long time, mountain bike ride. But he let me borrow his bike. And so I jumped on, and him and I went. He had his bike. I had my bike. Both, a little bit of both. Okay. And we did some uphilling and stuff. And that was pretty hard because you have to shift and just got to get your, legs going and whatnot. And it was fun. Don't get me wrong. The ride was really, really fun. We did some easy trails, some mediocre trails, and then a few like uphills that were pretty steep, and quite a lot of pedaling and whatnot. I got a really good workout. Like I said, my rear end is sore from sitting on that bike seat all day. Got about 3 hours in. That was fun. But what happens when you go and you ride a bike heavily, like you're, really high cardio? What happens to your lungs after really high cardio?
Well, they get worn out and tired, but they also start to work some things up.
Yeah. That's how mine works. I do a lot of spitting afterwards, just like...
Yeah. So what happens is it releases a bunch of those, whatever those things are in your lungs, they like open up, and it activates a bunch of those. And my friend is a doctor, but he literally like an MD, and he's like, "Oh, it's activated, blah, blah, blah." He starts speaking all this like technical stuff, and he's like, "This is really, really good. This is really healthy." He's like, "You haven't been using your lungs lately, like this." And so we've activated
using the lower portions of your lungs.
Yeah. And he's like, "We're activating all this." And so he's like, "It's really good that you're like phlegmy and like, spitting the stuff up and like you're coughing." He's like, the coughs are going to be productive. And so he's like, cough it up, this is really good. He's all excited and stuff. So he's like, "This is healthy for you." Well, so anyway, so I'm sitting there at his house, after the bike ride, and I'm like coughing pretty good. I got pretty, productive coughs, if you will. But it was a fun bike ride, but I'm like, kind of getting some stuff up or whatever. And I'm like, "That's fine." And he's like, "Okay, we're going to head back to your house, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, can I stop by Lowe's really quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "All right, cool." Well, we hop in the vehicle, we go to Lowe's, and when we get to Lowe's, he throws his mask on because we're going inside, and I look around and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot my mask. I try to always wear a mask in public, not because I have to, because it's a recommendation, but because it's like perception versus reality, right? I want to like make people feel safe. I don't want to like mess with people's anxiety. So I do it for the benefit of others. And this is the thing. If one,
to quote Ben Shapiro, my facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah. But if, just for other people's sake, if one person wears a mask, it only reduces the spread by 30%. But if two people wear a mask, it drops the spread by 99.5% or 98.5%. It's 98.5% impossible for two people to get it. If the two people wear masks and they're 6 feet apart, you're not going to get it to each other. But if only one has a mask, it's 30%. So it's pointless to wear a mask if everybody's not going to do it. But anyway, so I try to participate just to be a nice guy or whatever. But so my wife gave me one. She's like, hey, when you're in public, you should wear it. Just be a nice person. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. Well, I left it at home. I didn't know we were going to Lowe's. We were going on a bike ride, and I'm not wearing it on a bike ride. So anyway, we get done with the bike ride. We go to Lowe's, and he puts his mask on. I'm like, oh, crap, I don't have it. He's like, it's all right. We'll be in there for a few minutes. So we walk into Lowe's, and we're walking around Lowe's. Well, we just went on this whole huge bike ride. What's up, Audrey? He says hi to all of us.
Yo.
Hi.
And we walk into Lowe's, and he's just getting a few items. You know, we're only going to be in there for about 10 minutes, but I just went on this first bike ride for like I hadn't been on a bike ride for like 5 to 6 years. Definitely not one this hard. And it's definitely the most aggravating exercise I've done in the last 2 years. And my lungs are definitely like, woo, you did good. But you know, I'm coughing and stuff. And he's like, hey bro, could you not cough while we're in there? You're going to freak people out. And I'm like, I'm going to do my best. Well, have you ever been told not to touch your face?
Right.
All of a sudden your face starts to itch and you can't not touch your face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he tells me not to cough. I don't have a mask, and we go into Lowe's. I should have stayed in the car. Yeah. So we go into Lowe's, and
I'm sad I wasn't there to see this.
So first thing is I go in, immediately I'm trying to not cough. Well, then you start doing those coughs where you're trying not to
suppress
cough,
it.
and immediately people start looking at me like, you know, like what, who is that? And I'm like,
what's up with you?
You know, and they're like, oh, and then people, right when I walk in, it's like right where people are checking out, and they're like, oh, you know, get away from me. And then I like get around. He's like, dude, stop. And we walk around. We get into this aisle, and we're looking at paint, and he's like getting his paint, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, and I didn't have time to cover it because I was trying not to cough like a horse, and everyone around me just out of the aisle. There was no one in the aisle.
Empty store.
Just gone. Everyone scattered. There was like 4 people in the aisle within 6 feet of me, and they all just left. They just got out of there. And so then we went to another aisle, and as I came around the corner, the people in the aisle had heard, and I think they knew who I was. They just immediately, as we came in down the aisle, they just went away. I was like this plague walking the thing, and everybody, I know I should have just stayed in the car. Matt B's like, I was thinking that the same thing. Yeah. So as we're walking
in the car,
you know, Lowe's, I'm just like coughing uncontrollably now. I can't stop it. My lungs, dude, it really activated all that stuff. And Jared's, you know, he's so embarrassed. He's just like, dude, stop, you know.
Can't take you anywhere.
I know. And I'm just like, hurry up and get your stuff. You know, and I'm trying to cover my cough and stuff. And oh my gosh, it was hilarious. Everyone thought I had COVID, and everyone thought I was, you know, coughing on everything. And I was coughing super loud, and we were walking around. It was hilarious. So anyway, we check out and we leave. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious because during this whole pandemic, here I am, I'm in the middle of Lowe's without a mask, coughing up the biggest storm I've ever had. And everybody in Lowe's thought I was, you know, totally contagious, and they were literally scattering away from me. And then when we went to check out, the lady, I was like, hey, you can get like a vet discount, a military discount, because I'm a vet, he's a vet, you know, Dilstradamus, aka Jared. Jared's like a vet, he's in the Air Force, was in the Air Force. And they're like, okay. And so anyway, the lady's like, you got to like register online or whatever. And I was like, oh dang, I forgot about that. I already done that, but he hasn't yet. And so we're like talking about it, and I'm like, started coughing again. She's like, okay, hold on, just, and she just started discounting stuff. She's like,
just go.
she's like, just go.
Get outta here.
Exactly. She's like, just go. She just like discounts stuff. And she's like, just get out of here.
Forget it. It's free. Go.
Yeah. She's like, I'm a manager. I'm just going to
I'll buy it.
So anyway, we get outside and I'm like, what does your receipt say? Like, what did she give you? And it's just discounted goods. And it just has manager overrided. It just says like $5 negative. She just gave him a flat $5 off. I figured out the percentage.
Get you out of there.
It's like a 22% discount on what he bought. She didn't even think like it's a 10% discount normally. So she gave him 22% off by giving him $5
awesome.
off.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to die. Get out of here. Oh, so that was funny. So I guess I should spin this positively. I don't know how to spin it other than it was hilarious.
Don't
I
cough.
guess.
Stay in the car.
Yeah, you can be considerate to other people, but other people, don't take yourself so seriously.
I think the thing to pull out of this is perception is reality. And everyone's perception was that I was in there going to kill everyone. So note to self, I should probably have that mask in my pocket. So that way.
Just goes to show everyone's
just in
perception
case.
about what's going on right now is dangerous
Yeah.
because it's been over-exaggerated.
Yeah. And so had I had that mask on me, I could have gone in there, had the mask on. And even if I would have been coughing, people would have seen the mask and they'd have felt at least a little bit better because I would have done that. Second thing is, if I would have known I was coughing that bad, I could have just stayed in the car. I don't know why I went. I have no idea. You're with a buddy, so you're like, you chug along, you do whatever they're doing, kind of thing. I didn't even think about it. So Matt B said he had something happen a couple weeks ago. He was sanding drywall. He stepped outside covered in dust and let out a huge sneeze, and the jogger did a full 180.
He's had a better excuse to run faster now.
Yeah, keep it in the glove box with the Glock, of course. Glocks. I love Glocks. So, well, we had a good time.
Glocks, the butterface of guns.
Yeah, we had a good time. It's been an hour and a half. We did story time. We had a great time. I love having all of you here with us and on board. Thank you very much for being on Artisan K. SureShot, thanks for coming on board.
Always glad to be here.
Yep. Everybody, make sure you guys check out their channel. They're putting out at least one video a week. So go check those
Thumbs
out.
up.
I think the last video
Subscribe.
was only a half hour, so that was good. They're bringing the content down. I know you guys like shorter videos, so that is pretty awesome. So go check that out. We are hopefully going to be doing more content on here. I know I always say that and then I don't because I'm living life, but having a good time. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, and other
Don't
places
go to a
like
racist
that.
barber.
Yeah, don't go to a racist barber if they're overt. Had a really good time. See you guys later. Zoloft, Zebra, Ray Rock, Matt B, Aldry, everybody. If you missed some part of the live stream, go back. Also, you can put in the comment section all of your answers to all of it. I'd love to go back and read all of your answers to it. As always, make sure you guys keep your gaming on. And as always, SureShot, Artisan K, and Warrior, we're out.